Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. Una welcome for this platform of the Africa People's Rights Advocative Platform, a chapter, the mother organization of the Ambazonian People's Rights Advocative Platform. Na me, Chairman Capo Daniel. Today, we want to bring una some presentation where Archbishop Andrew Nkea, he gave for American Catholic TV station. He grant a very big interview for day. It then make wave and it then be published in several Catholic newspapers. And the thing where he give that interview for that news, now because he participate for some diplomatic mission for America, where he then submit for the American government and appeal me the American government intervene for the war for inside Ambazonia. This one a very big eye opener for a lot of our people, especially for me, where I be the spokesperson for the hardline for our struggle. For see, say somebody like Andrew Kia, who would be considered like an enemy during those days, he did do such a thing, and I hope say it will help our people for really open the eye for see which way it happen for our struggle. So I will play the interview where he came after that they visit for America, where they make wave and the appeal where give for the American government, the American government intervene for inside the war will get on with the Republic. As we know, the narrative for the Cameroon government I said they don't win. Normalcy don't come. There is nothing again. The war is over. Now for begin to move forward with their reconstruction and so see la see. You'll be the expected Andrew Bishop Kia, where he organization, the Catholic Church, he been one of the biggest beneficiary for all international donation for help our IDPs. It is support the Cameroon government, but strangely, he don't go give an appeal, semi-American government intervene. Basically, for intervene for this situation, now for go against the Cameroon government. And this one will be an eye-opener for our people because we always assume say all man an enemy because we don't be dominated by people the way they don't insult everybody for this struggle, turn off a lot of our elites them for help for this struggle. So, ladies and gentlemen, make a present una this interview where Archbishop Andrew Kia he gave for America, and maybe we watch them through. I get certain important points that I want to highlight them as he go to give this interview, as well as for present for our population, which way it appeal for the United States.
Andrew, thank you so much for stopping by. This is great.
Church in Cameroon started in 1890 when the German Palatine missionaries came to Cameroon and landed in a place called Marienburg in the Diocese of Edea. And since then, the church has spread Catholicism.
Relatively young church.
It's a relatively...
So, as we talk, we did for a revolution, and we also get as a be a cultural warrior, we fight a cultural war, and it be waged in many ways. So, Archbishop Andrew Nkea, he then make some very, very disturbing statement for this presentation where I want to point out for our people and also for correct them, for reinforce the truth for our people them, and for make them will be able to stand our ground. According to it, he talks the church in Cameroon. He need to talk about the Catholic Church. Maybe even mean the Catholic Church, but we need to make our people that me they not ever be jongle, me they not be blindsided in any aspect, for tell the truth as he did. So according to Archbishop Andrew Kia, he talks the church will be established in Cameroon in 1890 in Edea. And that was when the first Catholic mission that is established in French Cameroon. When I know say Cameroon be divided into many dioceses for the Catholic Church. But the Catholic Church where it dominate for Cameroon, it be established with its own orientation towards the colonial master them. As we know say those missionaries the way they be come for Africa, they be been a part and parcel or they be give an advance preparing of the ground for colonialism. So each church orients the population towards a specific manner of thinking and culture. The Catholic Church for Cameroon, it be oriented towards the French system where it be dominate our country and where it be colonize our country. So when Archbishop Andrew Kia, he start a history, he talk about 1890, saying at the time that way the Church for Cameroon he established. It be important me what people then dissect and for know. because the Francophone, their Bulu Beti narrative for the history for Cameroon, I say, will be as some part of their country where it be lost to the British, and they consider us like a captured people for try to force we back into that narrative. So we need to debunk all these type of things. I go repeat them again, just in case some person will pay attention, so that we go day on the same footing as they go inside the story where Archbishop Andrew Kia again. We go listen.
Cameroon started in 1890 when the German Palatine missionaries came to Cameroon and landed in a place called Marienburg in the Diocese of Edea.
So I want to be very clear with the facts. The church in Cameroon did not start in 1890 as Archbishop Andrew Kia Itokam. These things are things we learn right from primary school. In CS Baile, we didn't just learn it. It was written, it is a record, it is found in multiple archives. And I'll put up the picture of the first mission where it be there for that land as it in Cameroon. But it be land now for the English speaking side. Make I put the picture, make her up. So the first missionary where he come for Cameroon, he no become now for 1890 as Archbishop Andrew Kia be talk. The first missionary where he become for Cameroon, na a Jamaican-born British man, a missionary for Baptist Church from the Baptist Society from England. He be arrived for Ambazonia territory for 1808. That is almost 82 years before the Catholic missionary will be arrived for Idea if he ever come for set up their own colonial structures. So now if you imagine 82 years, so they would have born to man to he get grand pikin and before one die. It will go on for a very, very long time. After Joseph Madrick, where he will be assisted by very famous Jackson Fuller. I think everybody down here that named them because Natin and learn right from primary school. Before he die, they will be replaced by Alfred Seka. Alfred Seka, all we know it very well in Monamen, he did for inside Victoria. Now I picture that for Alfred Seka. So Alfred Seka arrived in 1845. The French missionaries of the Catholic Church that arrived in Edea came in 1890. That is over 50 years Alfred Seka was already there. For 50 years, Alfred Seka, building on the work of Joseph Madrick and Jackson Fuller, established and founded the city of Victoria, which today Cameroon have changed into Limbe. The city of Victoria was the biggest city that was robust. They opened up schools to teach English and to indoctrinate our people about the British culture. That is when the civilization in that area, the modern civilization and the building of the state organization and organizing our people into a state structure started. It started far, almost 82 years before the Catholic Church ever came to Edea that developed into the French culture as a seed. So our people should know their history and nobody should be able to deceive them. Alfred Seka landed in Bembia and they went to Penam Po. Penam Po is today called Bioko, and Bioko Island is around Douala area there. But the people there, they speak English till today. I'll bring you people videos from Bioko and those areas. You see them close to Victoria, but they're all speaking pidgin in those islands. They went to Bimbia, the open schools in Bimbia. They trained people there. Our great-grandparents were trained there by these British people. They had no intention to join with the people who came to Edea from the French Cameroon. So these are two different civilizations, even before they were originally colonized, that were existing before. The Catholic mission in Edea came close nearly 100 years, very long time. So the difference is very big and it's very huge, and our people should know. Joseph Madrick came to Fernando Po, and Alfred Seka later came to continue the work in Victoria, in Bimbia, where they call it Victoria today. And he also established a church in Bioko, which was called Fernando Po. And they also translated the Bible even in Douala language. But it was from our territory. That was a civilization that started from our territory. And the British built on that civilization. So we will continue with the rest part of the speech, because our focus on this speech is the appeal that Archbishop Andrew Kia have made to the United States of America to intervene in this war. That means that he is not supporting La République du Cameroon as we think he is supporting La République du Cameroon. But as a church, he has not lived up to our expectation. But we must always appreciate the good thing that people are doing. Archbishop Andrew Kia, when I was setting up the British Southern Cameroon Resistance Forces of RK, was sending food to the forces in Boyo. He was providing them with food. So he's somebody who was supporting this struggle. Like many of our elites, many of our church people, they gave up on the struggle because of the way the hardlines were behaving. Those extremists amongst us were behaving, insulting everybody, belittling everybody, using bully tactics, and a lot of people were just turned off by these actions of these individuals, and they just abandoned the struggle. So Archbishop Andrew Kia came from somebody who was supporting the struggle, and in some parts speaking in ways that looks like he was against the struggle. But I guess many people are really not against the struggle. They are just against the hardliners and the extremists and the bullies within our struggle, the fake people. And as such, they have just turned their eyes. And I want to call back our people to come back. All the moderates should come back and do the right thing. The God and Jesus Christ came for the oppressed people. Our people are being oppressed, and the fact that people are still people are dying. We have over 230 something thousand people, youths who are not going to school because there are not enough spaces, and we don't have that freedom to educate our children. The humanitarian aspect of the war is still going on. So it's a good thing that Archbishop Andrew Kia is appealing to the United States. So let's follow the rest of the interview.
And since then, the church has spread Catholicism.
Relatively young church.
It's a relatively very young church. And but the church continues to grow from strength.
It certainly is.
And that's why we say that we thank God for the growth of Catholicism in Cameroon. And in that sense, the church is doing very well. The people are committed. They are looking up to the church for many things.
So Catholicism, or whatever they call them, the religion for Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church, now a very integral part of the French institution of control over the mindset of our people. You hear even from late Archbishop Cardinal Tumi, he talk how we go for meeting for France. They ask you about the assimilation process using the Catholic Church. So this institute of the Catholic Church is tied to the French way of thinking. Not that we are against or we are condemning it, it's just a fact. And that is why you see even an Anglophone who is an archbishop is following that narrative that the Church of Cameroon established itself in 1890, when we know very well that Joseph Maverick arrived in Bimbia in 1808. Alfred Seca came later in 1845 to replace him, and he founded Victoria and built the English Anglo-Saxon system, opened the first English school almost 82 years before the coming of the French churches there that they are talking about.
The defense of the rights of the poor, and Caritas, established in practically all the dioceses, is doing a very wonderful work.
And this armed conflict has been going on for more than 5 years. Is there any way to move toward resolving it? Is there a resolution in sight?
It is very difficult. This crisis started in 2016, but the history of the crisis is linked from the unification of the two Cameroons, the Eastern Cameroon and the Western Cameroon.
I see.
The French-speaking Cameroon and the English-speaking Cameroon. English-speaking Cameroon is 20% of the population. And so the people are claiming marginalization and not given equal opportunities, and some want a secession. That's what the politicians want. And this resulted to an armed conflict, which is really, really disturbing our people, and also really impacting the life of the church.
Yeah, the church is right in.
So they asked Archbishop Andrew Kia if there is any end in sight. He did not come to tell the population that the war is over, that Cameroon have won, and all those blah, 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 that normalcy have returned. He has clearly stated that this war is about these two people that came together, and he has pointed the root causes that this war started as a result of a failed process that did not end up in us having any document or any contract with La Republic that would guarantee our rights and secure our borders. But it was, you know, the story already, that is not something to overlevel ourselves. But he clearly indicated that the war is about people who are demanding independence and people who were complaining about marginalization. So those are the things that we expect to hear from people of God, to speak the truth and to speak on behalf of those who can't speak for themselves, like the poor and the oppressed, in this case, the people of Ambazonia. So let's hear how he engages and talk about the issues.
Crosshairs. I know that priests and sisters have been kidnapped. Would you be able to argue that the church is being targeted? And what's the cause, if so?
The church has been at the crossroads since the beginning of this conflict. Truth. The church stands for human rights. The church stands for the protection of the rights of the poor. But this is not what politicians stand for. When we dialogue with the secessionists, the government thinks that we are with the secessionists.
Okay.
When we dialogue with government, the boys think that we are with government. And so each group does not want us to have anything to do with the other. And we say that true to our mission, we must talk to anybody at any time. And this is what is putting us into a lot of trouble, because we are not taking sides. And because of that, the secessionists think that we are with government, and the government thinks that we are with the secessionists. But then, because of the way the conflict has evolved, there's a lot.
So before he goes to the next point, I want to just acknowledge that the church is neutral and is supposed to be neutral. Then, understandably, we do think that the church supports the government side because of the way they have been behaving. There have been instances where human rights violations have happened within church premises, and the church refused to call out or put out official statement, like when people, our soldiers like Talk and Do, who were brought into the premises of Catholic Church in Bamenda, were removed from those churches and executed in public in Tarenkun. The church refused to put out an official statement. The nurses who were there, they said that they had reported to Archbishop Andrew Nkea, and they refused to make a statement because that would have implicated the Cameroon government for extrajudicial killing. So those are the cases that we have clearly seen that the church have not speak out for the poor and for human rights. And those are the things we call out, and it gives us the impression that the church is supporting the government. The church have also used its pulpits to call on boys to drop down their weapons without calling for justice. So those are the things that are legitimate, and we must point them out. But nevertheless, we are very happy to see this presentation by Archbishop Andrew Kia and his appeal to the United States of America to intervene. And he says that they are ready to talk to everybody. We will invite Archbishop Kia to have conversation with him to try to push our agenda for the voice of our people. So let's continue to hear the later part of that interview.
Of business that has come into play. The boys are coming to the church now as a soft target to be able to kidnap priests or religious and ask for ransom.
I see.
Ransom to buy houses or to buy cars or to buy guns. But we have our stand, and we have discussed this in the National Episcopal Conference. We will not give any ransom, because you start giving any ransom, you will not stop.
I see how that could be. What about the diaspora?
So, to be fair and balanced, the Cameroon government have attacked the Catholic Church, and he should point that out. If he didn't point that out, I'll point them out. We have video footages of Cameroon military harassing priests that refuse to toe Cameroon government line in Boya. And those things are there. We have seen a lot of cases like that. and we want it to be on the record. Let people know the abuses that the Catholic Church also have faced from the hands of the Cameroon government church. Even the Presbyterian Church. Earlier on in this struggle, we saw how the moderator of the Presbyterian Church was crying in front of the High Court in Bamenda as a result of harassment, judicial persecution. The Cameroon government have kicked out Doctors Without Borders, have been violating every humanitarian law that is there in the books. But nevertheless, let's go to the last part where he talks about what actually brought him to the United States, according to the information we have been provided, which was an appeal for the American government to intervene. Let us go ahead.
Outside of the country, do they have any role to play in resolving this?
Yes, the diaspora has a very important role to play, because practically all those who are influencing this conflict are out of Cameroon. They are in various countries around the world. But it has evolved to a situation where each group in the diaspora have a small militia at home,
really? Okay.
who execute their orders. And this is where it is important.
Very complex.
Very, very complex. It's important to involve the diaspora at every stage of looking for a solution, because they are very involved.
Is there a message for us?
So I think what he talk will be very important about the segmentation of our liberation struggle. When it started, it was being seen and it was being projected as a single movement where everybody was working together, fighting for the same cause. Despite the fact that we had diverse groups, there were no cracks. But today we see that the fight have evolved. You have groups of soldiers acting on their own. They don't answer to anybody. People in the diaspora taking charge of those groups and function like cartels, and we have seen all type of things. And that is just true. And what he talks about influence, we have influence. There is nobody in the diaspora who have command and control. We have command and control. Some people do have. I do have command and control over the force I have, but those are not absolute. It is all dependent on the level of trust, patriotism, and how loyal those forces can be. So it is more of a matter of influence, and we think we have the biggest influence over our struggle and over our forces because we are the most credible voice that have command and control on the ground, and we continue to exercise that with due diligence, with patriotic spirit, putting the interests of our population and their livelihood first, with our ultimate goal of freedom for our people. So let's hear the last part of this interview.
Here, the church in the United States, who are hearing about these, reading about these tragedies in Cameroon, what can we do to help? I mean, we've been praying here at Catholic TV, but what else can we do? I mean, we will certainly keep praying.
There are many things that the United States can do. The first thing is that as you say, we thank you for your prayers, because those prayers have really sustained us. But you can go further. There are congressmen in your area and senators who can discuss this at their level and see how to intervene very officially. Mm-hmm. Because all what we are doing now, we are meeting in the background and we are praying. Yes, but that's not enough. We have to go a step further to get our congressmen who are within our area to understand the problem and see how from the official level they can intervene. This is a very important, either put pressure on the government or put pressure on the secessionists to come to a middle ground where the common people will not suffer. Because the two elephants are fighting, the grass is suffering.
I can see that. Well, we have to...
So, Odanye Archbishop Andrew Kia, he Mission for America for appeal for the American government to intervene and apply pressure to the Cameroon government and on us who are fighting for independence to be able to come to a common ground so that this problem can be resolved. So those who have the illusion that the problem have been resolved and Cameroon have won, they have completely lost it. The suffering is going on. The situation is not acceptable. Our people will continue to resist because we can't accept to be under this type of a draconian system where our people have to be monitored by a military. They are killed at will. The Cameroon massacre still continue. They are imposing a form of bilingualism that means extinction of our law, even within our land. The common law is not superior, and those things have to end. The Ambazonian People's Right Advocative Platform, we have put forth an alternative solution, and we are pushing very hard to work on a concrete proposal to try to meet the Cameroon government halfway, as they have declared this special status as being a concession from their part. We have put forth a very strong and robust proposal, and is being considered at the highest level to make sure that our people can have the freedom of self-governance. They can have the freedom to preserve their identity and to control those things that they can control. And we will be giving more of that, but we want to just give these highlights to this program as we continue to fight and push for the agenda of the people of Ambazonia, for their freedom, for their separation and their independence. And we want to thank Archbishop Andrew Kia, and I will be personally reaching out to him as the chairman of the Ambazonian People's Advocative Platform to discuss on what we think and what we believe, and the role the church has to play. The church can play a major part to speak out for the oppressed people and to call for an end to the suffering of our people. The status quo, which is a stalemate, which is a victory for Paul Biya and his cohorts, they are comfortable in Yaoundé while people die. Not only our people are being killed, even the Francophones, their poor children are being sent to be slaughtered on our streets, and we will continue to fight them and to make sure we deny them access in our territory. Cameroon don't have any concern to rule. We will continue to make sure that that remains so. Our people must have a new social contract with us as a people, having a say on the future and outlook of our territory. That is what we must push, and that is what we are called by history to accomplish. God bless you. Ciao.